The Gilgo Beach case arrived. It cast a chilling shadow. The scale of it felt vast. So many lives were touched. A deep, unsettling fear took hold. Long Island communities felt it. The nightmare seemed to stretch on. It grew with the passing time. No one knew when it would end. The questions lingered for years. Then a new DNA showdown began. This brought the case back sharply. Recent charges made headlines everywhere. The intensity built up very strong. Rex Heuermann stood accused now. More terrible crimes were alleged. The old fears quickly surfaced again. The quiet of years was truly broken. A legal battle was starting. Long Island is often peaceful. Its sandy beaches are well known. This horrific case shattered that peace. A hidden, grim darkness was found. The fear became very real then. It gripped people across the island. Who was doing these awful things? The question hung heavy in the air. Answers seemed so far away. For many years the case felt cold. Solid answers were hard to find. Police detectives worked on the clues, but visible progress seemed so slow. Then the unexpected finally happened. An arrest was at last made. The dormant case roared back to life. Hope for justice cautiously returned then. The long story was not yet over. The terror began in May 2010. Shannon Gilbert went missing then. She was a young escort service worker. Her disappearance sparked a search. Police looked near Oak Beach. They were searching for Shannon, but they found someone else instead. This discovery opened a dark chapter. It was the start of something larger. In December 2010, more horror. Police found remains near Gilgo Beach. Not one, but 4 women. They became known as the Gilgo Four. Melissa Barthélemy was one, Maureen Brainard Barnes another, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello too, all found in burlap sacks. The search for Shannon continued. More bodies were discovered later. This happened in March and April 2011. 6 more sets of human remains. These were found along Ocean Parkway. Some were unidentified for years. The total number of victims grew. A pattern of death emerged slowly. The area held a terrible secret. Fear spread through the communities. Fast forward to July 2023. Rex Heuermann was arrested. He was a Manhattan architect. He lived in Massapequa Park. This was a shocking development. He was initially charged with 3 murders. Later, a 4th charge was added. Then, in early 2025, more charges. A 7th murder charge. The case continued to expand. The Gilgo Beach case exploded again. This happened after the 7th charge. It was early in the year 2025. The new evidence was powerful. It centered on advanced DNA testing. This science became a key focus. It seemed to tighten the net. The prosecution felt more confident. The case gained renewed momentum. The critical evidence was nuclear DNA. This is often called nDNA. It is a very specific type. It can pinpoint individuals accurately. This was different from earlier DNA. Earlier tests used mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondrial DNA is less precise. Nuclear DNA offered more certainty. It was a game changer for investigators. This nDNA linked Heuermann further. It connected him to more victims. The prosecution highlighted its strength. They believed it was very compelling. They said it directly implicated him. The evidence was carefully collected. It came from victims or related items. Science was painting a clearer picture. The courtroom awaited these details. The legal teams reacted quickly. The prosecution was clearly bolstered. They presented the new findings. They argued for its strong relevance. The defense team faced a challenge. They knew DNA was powerful. They would need to scrutinize it. The stage was set for scientific debate. This DNA became a central battleground. Understanding DNA is important here. Mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA, was used first. It is inherited only from the mother. All siblings share the same mtDNA. So do other maternal relatives. This makes it less specific. It can exclude suspects well. But it cannot pinpoint one person. It was a piece of the puzzle. Nuclear DNA, or nDNA, is different. It is found in the cell's nucleus. It comes from both parents, half from the mother, half father. This makes it unique to individuals. Only identical twins share nDNA. It is the gold standard in forensics. It provides a stronger identification, a much more powerful tool for justice. So why is nDNA stronger here? Its power to identify is key. It can link a suspect definitively, or so the prosecution argues. A match is statistically very rare. This makes it hard to dispute. It changed the Gilgo investigation. It allowed for new charges. It brought older evidence new life. This powerful nDNA is controversial. The prosecution calls it irrefutable. They say it places Heuermann there, a direct link to the victims. The defense must counter this. They might argue touch DNA. This means DNA transferred innocently, or they might cite contamination. They call nDNA a genetic witness, a witness they plan to cross-examine. For years, some victims had no names. They were known only as Jane Does. Peaches was one such victim. She was officially Jane Doe number 3. Her partial remains were found in 1997. Her toddler daughter was also found. The child was called Baby Doe, or Jane Doe number 7. Their identities were a long mystery. A breakthrough came through science. Genetic genealogy was the key. This method uses DNA databases. It searches for distant relatives. Investigators build family trees. They trace back through generations. This led to real names. Peaches was identified as Karen Vergata. Her daughter was also identified. The year 2023 brought these answers. Giving them names was significant. It was a huge step forward. It brought some solace to families. They finally knew what happened, though the pain remained immense. The victims were no longer anonymous. They were people with stories, people who were deeply missed. Their humanity was restored. These identifications impact the case. They officially connect these older deaths to the larger Gilgo Beach investigation. Prosecutors are looking for links. Can these be tied to Heuermann? The timeline is being re-examined. Evidence is being reviewed again. It expands the already wide scope. The full extent is still unfolding. More questions arise from these answers. Rex Heuermann's defense team is building their strategy against a mountain of evidence. Their main goal is to create reasonable doubt in the jury's mind. They'll challenge the prosecution, scrutinizing every piece of evidence, especially the DNA. They'll question its purity, probe for DNA transfer, and examine handling procedures. Any misstep could be an opening. The defense will also suggest alternate suspects, highlighting others with possible motives. They're trying to shift the focus from Heuermann and want the jury to consider others. They'll try to portray him as an ordinary man, caught in a nightmare. They're going to attack the prosecution's narrative and make him seem less monstrous. Beyond DNA, there's digital evidence. Cell phone data plays a large role in all this. Records show phone pings. These pings are near dump sites and near where victims disappeared. The prosecution says these are Heuermann's, or phones he controlled closely. This data creates a timeline showing movements and locations. Heuermann allegedly used burner phones, those prepaid, disposable phones that are harder to trace. But investigators found connections. They linked these phones to him and to communications with victims. This creates a digital trail, a series of electronic breadcrumbs. The prosecution will follow this trail, and it paints a picture of alleged activity. His internet search history is, well, damning. Prosecutors revealed disturbing searches for violent pornography, searches related to torture, and searches about the victims themselves, even searches about the investigation. These were allegedly made from his home or from devices linked to him. This suggests a dark obsession. The defense has to counter this, too. They argue it's coincidence for the pings. He worked in Manhattan, lived on Long Island, and travel patterns might overlap. For the burner phones, who truly used them? Can they prove it was him? For internet searches, it's a similar argument. Were devices shared in the home? Can they prove he made those searches? They'll offer alternative explanations. The Gilgo Beach case fascinates many, becoming a modern true crime saga. The public follows every detail. The long wait for answers and the arrest sparked new interest. People want to understand how and why these crimes happened. Online sleuths gather on forums and social media dissecting every development. Theories are proposed and debated. These digital detectives analyze maps, timelines, evidence, and motives. New technology fuels this engagement. Information spreads incredibly fast. News conferences are live-streamed, allowing for public scrutiny. The digital age has changed true crime. This public scrutiny can put pressure on officials and support victims' families, but it can also spread misinformation. The legal process has to remain fair despite the intense public gaze. So, what comes next in this case? Pre-trial hearings will continue, and motions will be argued fiercely. Jury selection is going to be crucial. Finding impartial jurors will be hard. Then, the trial itself will begin, expected later in 2025 or maybe early in 2026. It's going to be a long, complex trial. The prosecution has a big task ahead. They need to weave all the evidence together. The DNA, the cell data, the searches. Witness testimony will be heard. They need a coherent, strong narrative, one that proves guilt conclusively, beyond any reasonable doubt. That's the high bar for conviction. The world will be watching closely. The defense also has its challenge. Their goal is to create that doubt, to find holes in the prosecution's case, to highlight any inconsistencies found, to offer alternative possibilities. They're going to fight every point hard and protect their clients' rights. The adversarial system at work, justice demands a thorough defense. So the final question remains. The DNA evidence seems very strong. The digital trail appears extensive. The number of charges is growing. Does this path lead surely to guilt, or can the defense team succeed? Can they cultivate reasonable doubt, enough for even one juror to pause? The answer? Well, it awaits the trial's end. Only then will the verdict be known.